There was recently a World Economic Forum, and during this forum, the chief operating officer of Facebook by the name of Sheryl Sandberg decided that she would speak about women in business. And she had a really interesting take on women, and I want to share the video with you guys. Let's watch.
What we have is an ambition gap all around the world. We have equality nowhere for women, and we have two very different forms of an ambition gap. In the developing world, as many people said here, we have an ambition gap at the societal level. We say we want to educate our girls as much as our boys, but we don't mean it. We don't really do the things we need to do. In the developed world, we have an ambition gap at the personal level. And the data shows this super clearly. So in the United States, women got 50% of the college degrees in 1981, 31 years ago. And ever since then, women have made progress at every level. Every year they get more college degrees, more graduate degrees. They enter more jobs. They become more junior managers. They've stopped making progress at the top in the last 10 years. We're basically stuck in corporate America, 15%, 16% of C-level jobs and board jobs. If you look at the numbers around the rest of the developed world, the numbers are way worse, not better, and there's still complete stagnation.
All right, what's your take on that?
You know, it's interesting because you read about what she said, and I feel like a lot of different outlets try to spin it. For instance, Raw Story, and I'm not saying they tried to spin it, but they included another part of what she said. She basically said, women are not as ambitious as men. We don't raise our daughters to be as ambitious as men. Mm-hmm. And that's a comment that I kind of disagree with. Mm-hmm. I think that saying that women are not as ambitious as men just because they haven't been raised that way, it doesn't necessarily apply. I think a lot of women are extremely ambitious, but there are so many obstacles along the way to becoming successful, not just in the corporate world, in any field imaginable, that I think it's unfair to say that it's just because of the way that they were raised.
Right. I totally agree with you that there's a great number of factors, and one of the factors could be that, the glass ceiling, discrimination against women. So, and I'm not saying that's the only factor either, but it could be that they think, the old stereotypes and biases, well, obviously the boss should be a man, et cetera. Of course, at mid-level managers, of course we can do women there, but then, and this glass ceiling is not a new idea. It's something that women have had to deal with all the time. So her points have some validity and then are overgeneralizing in some parts. But let's go to that question of, are men more ambitious than women? Yes or no? Go.
No. Do I think men are born more ambitious than women? No, I don't think that at all. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the thing is, some would argue men have testosterone and they're driven and, it might be in goofy things, right? Mm-hmm. But they're more driven in that sense. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I would assume not until shown that way, right? And you can't be colored by your own experience because you're incredibly driven. Right. But you don't necessarily represent all women, and the same is true of me. I'm very driven, but I know that a lot of dudes sit at home and play video games.
I don't know if there's a link between testosterone, like a causal link between testosterone and ambition. I know there is with, physical strength. I know there is with aggression. But when it comes to ambition, I don't know if that's something that is more likely to happen with a man versus a woman. Right.
Well, that's the interesting point, right? Does the aggression in some way lead to ambition or not? Mm-hmm. And I have no data on it, so I have no way of knowing. But nonetheless, we like to speculate. Do women have the ambition to be the top dog as much as guys do?
I think so. Mm-hmm. I really do. When you look at universities and you look on college campuses, women do outnumber men. And they don't outnumber men because they have nothing to do and they're like, all right, I'll go to college. It's because a lot of them want to break through that glass ceiling. They want to do something with their lives. They don't want to be housewives anymore. And you're seeing this huge movement with women, right? Where staying home and taking care of kids is not necessarily what they want anymore. They want to be independent. They want to be the breadwinners in their homes. And I think there's this whole societal misconception that women have always been less ambitious because they haven't been the ones who have gone out there and tried to get jobs. In a lot of cases because they didn't have the ability to do so. But now that we do, we're taking advantage of it. And I think that shows the ambition.
Right. The part that I definitely agree with is that it's totally unfair to say, women didn't get the top jobs before, hence they must not have been as ambitious. That's a ridiculous assumption.